Tonight, our speaker I met many years ago, and he now does a media company of which he has hired multiple NAU grads. So he'll do his own pitch perhaps, but graphic design, all that kind of stuff. He does cool websites for a lot of Catholic clients, maybe some other clients and whatnot. However, 20 plus years ago, he was on MTV's The Real World, New Orleans. And then a year ago, they dragged him back for a 20-year anniversary. The thing the stuff you put in your closet, you're like, oh, was that a dream? And they're like, no, we'll show you on screen what you did and said, So, what I love about Matt is his faithfulness to the Lord, to his family. I think he's gifted with insights to culture, and he has courage to be able to speak to culture while being authentically himself, all that is. And so tonight to talk about 5 ways to get through college, keep your faith, is Matt Smith.
Hey. All right. Thank you, Father Matt. Good job. I like that. I got like 6 mics on, so hopefully some of these work. So welcome, guys. It's so good to be here. It's so coldish up here. I'm in Tempe, not far from ASU, so it's nice and toasty down there. It gets like 65, and we put on our hoodies, pour some hot chocolate. It's fantastic. So today's going to be fun. It's going to be interactive, so I'll be asking some questions. And the best part is we're actually going to finish with you guys. You're going to come up here, and you're going to teach one another what you just learned. So this is going to be so dope. I hope that you're going to be on edge and nervous the whole time because you have this deep down fear of, will he call on me? And the answer is yes, I will. So this is no time for peace, love, and joy. That was Mass. That's over. The Mass is over. Okay, so what we're talking about today is 5 things we get wrong about college, okay? So 5 things people don't tell you about college. And my hope is that by the end of this next 30 minutes, is you would be more confident in who you are and more equipped to go through this next day, this next week, this next month, and for however many years you have left here at NAU, okay? So this is, we're going to cover 5 things, all right? And we're going to do fun notes, so you guys will have notes to work from for your own presentation. This is so good. You're going to love this. Okay, number 1. I think we're choosing our majors all wrong, okay? I think the way we've been choosing our degree, our future job, I think it's almost entirely wrong. Because it's usually built off half-baked ideas. How many people have heard this one? Just follow your passion. Okay, raise your hand. Okay, all right. Sounds so good, right? But have you ever met someone who followed their passion to a tragic end? The people say, my passion is music, and then they study music, and then somewhere along the way, no one said but you're not that good at it, right? And then they're mad because they're like, are you going to come to my concert? And you're like, no, I'm not. You're bad at that, bro. Someone should have told you, okay? Now, there's other stories that work out well, that you follow your passion, it goes well, but there's some nuance there, right? There's similar ones that are equally insufficient, which would be just go for the high-paying job, right? Just get a degree that's going to pay you a lot of money. But that's predicated on the idea that you'll be able to do that job well. Because people who have degrees that are meant to go into high-paying jobs, the assumption is that you'll get hired into that industry and they'll be really stoked. But that's an assumption. It's based on the fact that you're good at the thing that you got your degree in, right? So this kind of gives you brain damage because you're like, wait, do I follow my passion? There you go, keeping you on the edge. I threw a marker. So this is my best attempt to give you the simplest instruction on choosing a major, okay? This is my best attempt. So start with what are you good at, okay? We're gonna write G-O-O-D. Start with what you're good at. Okay, so some of this is hard skills, you're good at math, you're good at science, you're good at communicating, you're good at a lot of stuff, right? And what's fun about this is you get to list all the things you're good at. Go ahead, try this at home. Get some pen and paper. What are you good at? Go through the list. And again, hard skills, soft skills. Usually, what were you good at in high school? What came easy to you when other people just struggled? The homework you look forward to, and other people are like, oh my gosh, math. And you're like, oh my gosh, math, woohoo. you know? So like, what are you good at? And then have a little bit of courage and start to write things outside of this circle that you're not good at, right? Because it's okay to be not good at everything, right? Like we kind of pretend that you got to be good at everything or like have like enough confidence to convince other people. But whatever, I can tell you a million things I'm bad at. Like I'm bad at a significant number of things on this earth, right? And that's okay. So simple, right? What are you good at? Put in the circle. What are you bad at? Put outside the circle. Do you think you can do that? Of course you can. Okay, now this one's going to be fun. I'm going to choose a different color. Money. That's not dark enough. I need a dark money sign. All right, money bags. Okay, what will people pay you to do? You see where this is going? What are you good at that people will pay you to do? You can be good at something that people won't pay you to do. Okay, it happens all the time. I don't want to break your heart. It's going to happen the rest of your life. You're going to be good at something and people will not give you money for it. Get used to it. It's great. That's why you get to volunteer and do stuff. Is because everyone's like, no, I'm not paying you to do that. And you're like, but I'm good at it. So it's okay, right? So start there. What are you good at that people will pay you to do? So if you are good at math, then talk engineering, talk about mathematics. There's the pay you to do that, right? So start to look at these things right here. Like where does your skill set that you're good at overlap with what people will pay you to do? Now, there's the next one, which is what are you passionate about? So we're going to do this, we're going to write the word passion right here. I think where we get tripped up on this one is we have probably 3 or 4 different definitions of the word passion. One common definition of passion is like you're really amped up, you know, you're like emotional. You want to talk about something, you always kind of push this thing into every conversation. Or when everyone else gives up, you keep going. Very passionate about it. But the funny thing about that definition of passion is that for each of us as a human, what we're passionate about tends to evolve or even change. Like think of something you were passionate about in high school that you're kind of embarrassed about. Well, no, I'm not going to ask you to say that out loud. But like, okay, there's all those things, right? Like something you were really passionate about as a freshman in high school and you're like, please don't make me say that out loud, right? Because you're not passionate about it anymore. So everyone's like, oh, well, I really love this band and totally went to all the concerts. I even thought about getting the tattoo. You know, okay, yeah, that was a then thing. That's not a now thing. So if we go just by this definition of like it gets you amped or excited, that doesn't work in the long run because that changes and evolves. Then we have other definitions of passion where it's about just this overriding mission, you know, but again, a lot of that is bound within time. You can point to people in your class and say, she's passionate about this, he's passionate about that. But rarely do we take and ask the question, what could you be passionate about for a lifetime? And I think for us as Christians, where it goes the next level is we have an entirely different definition of the word passion, which is the suffering of Jesus as he faced crucifixion. That's what's so powerful about this is that it almost upends every other definition of passion that we have. So everything else is about emotion and excitement and like, I'm all into this and this is what I care about. But if you look at the beginning of the passion, it was Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And God the Son prayed to God the Father and he says, if it is in your will, Father, let this cup pass over me or pass from me. You're familiar with this. But Jesus, God in 3 persons, God the Son on earth, wanted to take a pass because the crucifixion, the suffering he would go through was not for him, but it was for us. You know, they say that he sweat blood, right? Think about that. So clearly, the Christian definition of passion is almost the exact opposite of every other definition that we've been given. So I think whenever we follow a worldly definition of passion, it almost always leads to chaos in your life. Whenever we follow a worldly ideal of money and money alone, certainly we know that causes chaos. If we're delusional about what we're good at, that can cause problems too. But what's fantastic is when we overlap these all together, what we see here in the middle is your very best career options, your very best majors. Oh, look at that, it's kind of a heart. How sweet. So think about your career this way. Now, I'm not saying you need to want to like die for your career, like not civil engineers. Please make me a good parking lot, but like don't sacrifice your life for the parking lot, you know? But I want people to bring passion to everything they do. I don't know if you've ever been to the ER or had someone you love in the hands of a doctor. But I've had I have 6 children, my wife and I have 6 kids. They're fantastic, they're like 15 all the way down to 3. And there's something when you meet a doctor, well, I'll just tell you who she is. She was good at what she did, and she was rewarded for it. She was one of the most prestigious doctors in the hospital, and she helped my baby Roxana, who had severe breathing problems, and we didn't know if she was gonna make it. And the woman also the doctor also wore a cross. And when someone you love, your child, you're literally putting in the hands of someone you do not know. All of a sudden you realize like what we do with our career matters. Sometimes it's very powerful, like in the case of a doctor. Other times it's very subtle. Who's ever been to like just the drive-through, right? And like someone is just ridiculously happy to give you your chicken sandwich. You're like, thank you for making my day better. Or like, it doesn't matter. Like just look around at the adult world. People who are passionate about what they do, like they realize they have a mission, that it's not just about them and what they can make and whether or not they're better at it than someone else, but they're on a mission and they have a purpose in this world. And I'm gonna wake up today and I'm gonna live it. Those are the kind of people that make this world hum. Those are the kind of people that make this world the world you wanna live in. So whatever other advice you get, follow your passion. You can follow that if you want. I would say just take some time, say a prayer, and pull up a Venn diagram. Or if you've already chosen your degree, try really hard to use this to convince you made the right decision. Okay, number 2, I think we're managing our time pretty wrong. Okay, here's a clock, here's a calendar. What's some advice people have given you about managing your time? Adults do this all the time. They see a young person, they're like, how's your time management skills, right? Like adults are pretty intense like this. What are some of the advice you've been given about managing time? Go ahead, raise your hand. None of it's wrong. Yeah, go for it.
Work first, play later.
Work first, play later, okay. Work hard, party hard, something like that. I've seen it on the t-shirt. I know, I like that. Where it's like, okay, of course everyone wants to hang out with their homies right now, but do 2 hours of homework and then you hang out with your homies. Okay, love it. That's good, that's a good start. What other advice have people given you? This is fun, come on, everyone pitch in. Yeah.
Make a schedule.
Make a schedule, right? Be proactive. Decide what you're gonna do before you get there, right? Otherwise, then every day you just kind of get blown around in the wind of circumstance and friends. And yeah, we need more humans to make more schedules because there's a lot of people out there getting tossed about in the wind. Any other advice you've been given?
A to-do list.
A to-do list, those are good. Lots of apps for that, for sure. Have a to-do list, yeah.
6-step planning.
6-step planning, woo, what are they? 6 steps, do you know them? I'm not gonna call you out, but I totally am.
Your mission, your like overall mission statement, your like big rocks or your roles that you have, and then the goals that you have for those roles.
Okay.
And then you put them in your schedule and then you reevaluate. You have integrity in the moment of choice and then you reevaluate.
Okay, that's pretty comprehensive right there. I love that integrity in the moment. So like in every moment, you're given so many options of what are we gonna do with our time? So having integrity to say, this is who I am, that's pretty cool. Where did that come from? Did you write that? Did you publish your own book?
I learned it through my job.
Nice. Man, this girl's got it going on. She's got a job that teaches her life skills that I want to learn. Okay, so with time management, I think one of the things that all that we've said so far is good. Like work first, play second, like have a to-do list, schedule things out. All of this is good. And you should do all those things. But to me, I've found that you can do all of this and still fail at life. You can do all of this and still be unhappy. You can do all of this and accomplish the things you set out to accomplish, and you end up causing damage to the people who are around you. That you can live this very regimented, and the social media is filled with these goobers, these influencers who are like, I'm gonna teach you the 7-step plan to optimize your life and go 10x in life, be a millionaire like me. I'm doing push-ups as I'm talking. Like, yeah. But so do that, try to figure it out, get some skills, y'all. But what I've also found is that the one thing that changes how you experience time is your morning prayer. I think that the cumulative stress that happens throughout your day, the interactions you have with your peers, your professors, your friends, your boss, that humans, how many times have you had this where like you have a conversation with someone and you wish it would have gone better? So you have that writer conversation over and over again for 3 days, okay? So you spent 3 days, y'all, fixing a conversation that happened in 3 minutes. That's messed up. That burns through a lot of things that we would call your life, okay? So this head trash, can we call it head trash? There's head trash that comes from existing in time. And I have found that no amount of this hyperactive planning stuff solves that problem. For me, I start my day with coffee and prayer. I found that they work perfectly together because God arranged it that way. I make my coffee. I look at, mine is I have scripture. I've got a book I'm reading. I've got a binder of prayer intentions. I've got a chaos of Post-it notes. And I literally just kind of say, Lord, this is my mess. In my imperfection, I'm inviting your grace. Lord, let your will be done. And I just muscle through and I slug through my brokenness, my weakness, my disappointments, my hopes and my dreams. And I'm in my 40s. This is important to me when I was your age, but important to me now. It never stops. And the days where I miss my morning prayer are the days where I get overwhelmed by every hour of the day. The months where I pray less, I become more stressed and overwhelmed. I feel physical and mental deterioration because of it. So I'm saying that your experience of time itself is changed by prayer. So if you don't develop good habits of prayer, if it's just going to mass and hanging out with church friends, that's awesome. That's rad. But don't stop there. Go to the next level. Change how you experience everything because it gives you the grace you need to go through the challenges you face throughout the day. Does anyone have their favorite morning prayer routine or something you like to do you want to share? It could be something very simple like a psalm you read, anything like that. Okay, share it in a small group. Oh, you almost went for it. You wiggled your hand, calling you out. Okay, what's your morning?
I have a worship playlist that I listen to every morning. So it's the same songs every morning.
Okay, good music that focuses you on God. That's good. That's cool. That's an easy way to do it. Some people pray the rosary. That can be nice. What's fun about being a Christian is that there's a trillion ways to build up your personal prayer life. So try them out, see what other options are out there. Yeah.
I used to serve that morning mass at 4 o'clock in the morning. So.
That's bad to the bone. This dude was up at 3 a.m. Okay, so now he's lying literally in church. All right, I love your story. Okay, so an active service to start the day. An active service to start the day. I tell you what's powerful is when you start your day by praying for the people who are causing you the most trouble in your life. It could be a friend, it could be most of the time it's family, if it's a family member. To just start your day right there. That you want to talk about powerful stuff. I'll leave it with that. Okay, we covered 1. We covered 2. Let's cover 3. I think we're hoarding friends and it's causing us so much head trash. We need to stop hoarding friends. I'm not sure where this trend started. Maybe social media had something to do with it. We could have a quantitative number by how much people like us. Maybe y'all don't care. Maybe TikTok is the end of the universe and you just said, whatever, I'm doing the dances. It's going to be great. But somewhere along the way, I felt like it went from I've got some friends to now I have 1 million friends. They're everywhere. Okay, so where does this come from? It's good to come to college and to meet new people. It's good to come out of your shell and say, yeah, I know these 3 people from high school, but I'm going to hang out with more in college. Okay, I'm liking where this is going. But it keeps on going in a direction where we almost choose to have more friendships at the cost of depth. So we have quantity over quality. And it ends up creating some strange dynamics in your head because you have just enough connection with a lot of people to feel like you have a friend, but not enough depth and vulnerability to actually benefit from that friendship. So you might be entertaining these people, you might be confiding in people, you might be selectively trusting people, you might be gossiping with these people, you might be, in the Bible it says, these people aren't your friends, you just share the same sins. I think that's a pretty baller statement to come out of the Bible. I'm like, oh yeah, I see that everywhere. They don't even like each other, they just like the same sins. But the point is, sometimes you get to that point where it becomes such a hoarder of friendship, we're not actually building friendship. We're building acquaintances that are pretending to be a friend. But I found that when you focus on quality, yeah, you want to get those right, buddy. When you focus on quality, not quantity, that's when things really work out well. An easy example of this is just after I graduated college, me and my roommate decided, we were both had a job, we were both out of college, we shared a house. We wanted to build community, primarily through our local churches. So we started to have Thursday night parties where we'd go to Mass and invite everyone over to the house. We'd have food, we'd have music, play the piano, we would sing, have a really good time. We did this again and again and again, and it became a kind of a big deal. In town, if people came into town, it's oh, there's always this party on Thursday night, but then again, they party on Tuesday night. And all along, we're church friends and we're investing in one another, we're getting to know with one another, and we're not content with a superficial hoarder type friendship, but we wanted to live deliberately and to get to know one another. So the cool thing is that didn't last very long, maybe 2 or 3 years, because we all started to meet people and getting married. And fast forward to today, that was about 20 years ago, crazy enough, so before you sweet little babies were born. About 20 years ago is when that all happened. But what was neat is my wife and I we actually had to fill out, what do you call it? Not a will, but it's a trust. So it's where you actually have to fill out what happens when you die. You want to talk about a bristling, terrible moment as a parent when you have to decide what happens when. What happens when my health, what happens when this, what happens if both Candace and I are hit by a bus, what happens? And it very painful exercise to go through, but it's what you have to do as a parent. And what was so cool that came from that is we realized that if we had to trust someone else to raise our children, we had to trust both spouses. I had to like the dude, she had to like the guy. It's okay, if they're going to be, we got to like these people, right? We have to trust them to raise our children to be the people we want them to become. And we started to count them off. Do we like him? Do we like her? We started to count them off. And when it was done, I think we were at 35 or 40 couples that we could trust to raise our kids. Think about that, 35, 40 couples. And then we remembered where we met them all. And it was at our house parties with our friends from church. It sounds almost ludicrous that when you say house parties with my friends from church and then trusting someone to raise your children, this doesn't seem to add up. It's wait, did he just undo what he said? But it was about quality of friendship and depth of friendship and willing the good of another person. We had a lot of painful discussions with this group of friends. It was not always easy. But to this day, our life is blessed because of it. So it's worth your time. All right, next up. Oh, let's go to number 4. These are both towers, not lighthouses. Have you ever had to draw a tower on the spot? It's hard, y'all. Okay. These are ivory towers. Have you ever heard the phrase ivory tower? So it's typically on a university campus. It's this idea that this department is an ivory tower, and we sit up upon our wealth and generations of knowledge, and we look out upon the students with all that we need to know, right? So that's one depiction of an ivory tower. I think one of the things we get wrong is that, I would say it like this, your professors know more than you. They do. They've had more time to learn, more time to know, but they don't know everything. So there's 2 things that are competing there, where you need to learn from your professors, you need to learn in your classrooms, you need to learn in your textbooks or your iPads or whatever you kids are doing nowadays, learning from TikTok, your professors teaching as they dance, the end of the world. But the point is, professors don't know everything. I think an interesting example of this, we're going to call this the School of Economics, and we're going to call this the School of Psychology. I went to college from 1997 to 2001. That's my undergraduate, and then I got my MBA about 15 years later. And these were very different departments, economics and psychology. And in economics, as you know, it's about rational choice. You make decisions about what's good for you. What are the utils you get from a situation? We're about pragmatic decision making in what we do, right? Psychology department is like 1,000 things, but it surely is rarely that. And for a while, economics had basically lived in this world. And a professor, Daniel Kahneman, if I'm saying his name correctly, he said, I feel like there's more to people's decision making than what we're pretending here in the economics department. And he started to listen in more in psychology classes. He started to learn more about it. And he started to develop some of these early theories of what's called behavioral economics. And he pushed them even further and further, published a lot of great articles and books. And because he left the ivory tower of economics, he was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize because he learned from someone else on campus. More than that, but I'm going to simplify it to that, right? That same dynamic is happening on campus right now, where this department is all hopped up on this idea because it's popular right now. We're going to focus on, have you heard of presentism? Presentism is when you judge all of history through the priorities of today. Think about that. So the funny thing about today is the priorities always change, but we tend to judge everything in history based on what is important to us today. So the same thing can happen, presentism can happen within the very universities that we use to teach the next generation, where they're just exclusively viewing, I could go on for this forever, but the point is, what we know now and what we're learning here on campus matters. But it should never matter so much that it undermines who you are as a person or who you are as a Christian. Now, I don't know why this always exists. Maybe it's biblical, where Christians turn the other cheek, right? Like that's a biblical perspective. Don't fight back, turn the other cheek. But it seems to me that it's pretty much like open season to just like pick on Christians. Like it's like Twitter, it's like was built for that, you know? I would just don't ever let your confidence in who you are as a person or your Christian faith be undermined by a professor. Ask the questions. Ask Father Matt questions. Believe me, none of us know everything there is to know about God. None of us know everything there needs to know about why the church teaches this or what is this part of the Bible. So ask the hard questions, but don't ever come at it as, oh, I heard this in this classroom and therefore I have to discredit everything I've ever learned. No, college is meant to take what we learn in these and to try to pull it together into what we were raised with. That's the excitement of being an adult. It's an exciting part. So respect your professors, learn from them, but don't let them undermine who you are. Help them to be a part of this journey into finding out the big story. Make sense? Okay. And by the way, believe me, there are Nobel Peace Prizes waiting to happen because people are just going to start tearing down these towers. And then those people are going to get their Peace Prizes taken away because we needed to build the tower back up. Okay? It's chaos out there, guys. Okay, let's move on. Let's finish on a high note. Okay, let's talk about dating. This one's fun. Number 5, pay attention. It's a big deal. I feel like dating is a completely failed experiment. The whole thing is a dumpster fire. And I'm going to say this with empirical evidence. The goal of dating someone is that you find someone who you love enough and that person loves you enough to love each other for a lifetime. The goal of dating is not like, hey, let me love you for a minute and then we'll say goodbye. Then I'll love you for a minute, but don't worry, I'll dump you next week. Like, there are those people out there, but hopefully y'all aren't them. So the goal is like someone that you could love for a lifetime. That's what your heart wants, right? So if you look at the data, I think it's about half of American marriages end in divorce. Failed experiment. That we have this thing that happens before marriage and we loosely call it dating, and it's not working. We're going to get back to that in a minute. My wife, when we were just dating, kind of ironic, but we were just dating, her senior thesis at ASU was about manners and etiquette. And she used her graphic design skills to like portray manners and etiquette in a way that people would understand. It was like a cool project, too much to go into. But she came back and she needs some help. She's like, hey, I got all these books from the ASU library. It's all about manners and etiquette. And these books were written over like the course of like 100 years. So there was only one book for men on manners and etiquette. And I'm like, okay, let's see what this is all about. And it was from the 1940s or 1950s. And I'm like, this is going to be so good. I want to hear the instructions they gave dudes in the 40s. You know, like, I have no idea what this is, but it was published by Esquire magazine. And Esquire, of course, was, magazines were paper. Imagine Instagram printed out and they stapled it together. Nothing moved unless you moved it. Yeah, that was a magazine. Oh, you didn't get it every minute. You got it once a month if you're lucky. And it came in, a mailbox, which is another thing. I don't know if you've seen one, but they're fantastic. But the point is this, is that I was reading this Esquire guide to men's etiquette manners. So I went to the section on dating. This blew my mind. Okay, this is the directions they gave men at the time. They said, you're a university student, and it's hard to date because it's your men's university. You know, you got the women's university, men's university. So they said, this is how you ask a girl out, basically. And I'm like, okay, let's see how this went down. They said, first you have to know there has to be a connection. So if your roommate is dating a girl over at the girl university, because they were all like different or something, I don't know, I wasn't there. But I'm assuming from the book that you have to write her a handwritten letter, or you type it, dope, right, typewriter, and say, hey, your roommate is friends with my friend, we'll say John, okay, like Matt and John. I would like to introduce myself. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am. And you put that joint in an envelope and send it to her. And I'm like, man, this is intense. If she writes you back, here's the next letter. You need to invite her and her friend to come and visit you and John at the university. Invite her to homecoming. Give her an itinerary of what you will be doing. Make arrangements for where she will stay. It implied she can't stay with you. Make arrangements for where she should stay, and talk about the activities you'll have, and talk about, don't worry, it's on me, I got this one covered. And if she agrees to it, send her the train tickets. Again, this is so dope. Send her the train tickets, okay? And they said, keep in mind in the time between sending her the tickets and her arriving, you need to be preparing yourself to be a better man. How are you going to be a better man than you were when you sent the tickets? And then it said, because you know what seat she's sitting on the train, make sure you are standing at the platform at the very place she will get out of the train, so you're there to greet her and welcome her. So at this point, I'm like, this sounds so much better than what we're doing right now. Like, I don't know, like, how to undo all of what's happened, but surely somewhere, and it's like, what, 50 years before, the rules were very different. Okay, so let me just ask you guys honestly, like straight up. When you hear that, like I'll start with the girls. When you hear that as the beginning of a courtship, as I'm telling that story, what thoughts and feelings are going on inside of you? Like, what was your initial reactions? Like, let me just hear it.
I thought towards the end, like, that was a little bit delusional, but then, I mean, the beginning was cute.
Okay.
The letters is
All right.
cute, right?
Okay, so the beginning's cute. So you're saying it's delusional.
Maybe for me at the train, that's a little delusional.
Yeah, but hey, you're in a new city. Who knows? It could have been savage. I don't know. But still, you know, okay, so you're like in the beginning. Okay, what are some other thoughts that were going on? Be honest, be vulnerable. You don't have to like the story just because I told it. Yeah, okay. That's very sweet. So even if you didn't like the guy, it was very sweet. Oh, I forgot to say, the purpose of the weekend, they said, was to get to know one another and to avoid too much like physical, intimate stuff, because what you're trying to do is not build a short-term thing, but a long-term thing. So you want to have activities where you get to know each other. Pretty amazing, right? So for you guys, I know we don't have trains, you can like do this stuff. I know it's not an option. It'd be totally weird if you sent her a letter, you know, and she'd be grossed out if you did the bow at the station. But I think about any sort of dating relationships that starts in the DMs, like this dumpster fire of a tool. I don't know, there's billions of dollars being made from apps to create relationships that become destructive. And I don't want to have anything to do with that. I'm married, so I don't have to worry about it. My kid, the oldest is 15, so I've got a little bit of time. But I'm telling you, I know that when it comes to our decisions that we make, when it comes to dating and courtship, if you follow the plan that's been handed to you by our society, it's not going to work out well. What's fun about this is that these two actually work together. They say that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you have high quality friends, you will be a higher quality person. If you hang out with not quality people, then you're going to adopt their not quality traits. So if they're cynical, if they're skeptical, if they're negative, if they're toxic, if they're selfish, you spend enough time with those people, it starts to rub off on you. But the converse is true as well. The inverse is true. If you hang out with positive, optimistic, prayerful, life-giving humans, those people rub off on you as well. What's fun is that maybe this app thing, maybe this iPhone thing will be a part of your story, but I've really found for almost all of my friends of all different ages, they've met their future spouse through their current friends. That's where you're going to meet your future spouse. So if there were ever more motivation to keep high quality friends, know that the quality of your friends determines the quality of your future date, okay? So make sure, I don't know if y'all are awesome or not, but I'm sure hoping you are. But make sure you hang out with awesome people because you're more likely to meet that awesome someone. If you hang out with average people, you're going to meet that average someone, and you know how that turns out. Okay, those are the 5 things that you need to know about college, and now I'm going to pick arbitrarily 5 of you to come back and present the main principles. Okay, plaid shirt bro, come on up. How about Beardley? Come on up. All right, Beach Patrol, you up for it? You up for it? All right, you ready for it? Come on, get up here. All right, we need one more. Sweatshirt, you up for it? Come on up. Yeah, there we go. All right, okay, so ladies, because I'm nice, I'm gonna let you pick which ones you want, and then I'm gonna assign these rough characters ones. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Okay, hold on. We got to get you on, okay. We'll do this one.
Do that. Oh, no, that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, there you go. Tell us your name, where are you from? Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Kylie. I'm from here, well, Phoenix, but that doesn't matter. Yes, thank you. Thank you all. Okay.
Teach us.
So, in our Venn diagram here, you want to find things you're good at, things that make you money, and find all the stuff in the middle, because that's what you want. And then also the passion, what you're passionate about, and in the middle you get a little heart to find your perfect, which I do not have that now. So now I know I need to go find this more in this and this.
Maybe, but your passion is not just about this career will change my life. But can you bring who you are, Kylie, as a person? Can you bring the depth of your faith and your conviction that you have a purpose in this world? Can you bring that into your career? And the answer is yes, of course you can.
Of course
no one
I can.
gets a dream job day one. You kind of got to make it your dream job. And Kylie, you can totally do that. Thank you, Kylie. What's your name?
Okay, my name is Brooke.
Hold it close.
Oh, sorry. Okay, my name is Brooke. I'm from Idaho. I'll pick number 3. It's important to hang out with quality people. Sorry. Okay, my bad. Quality people. And it'll last long-last friendships and relationships in the future.
That's right. So quality, not quantity.
Yep.
And you got to invest in these people, right?
Exactly.
And never trade off quantity for quality. You know what I'm, these words, they're hard. They sound the same. But if you have too many friends that have shallow connection points, it's and not good for you.
Right.
So having, I think this is the perfect number of best friends. Right here in this room right now. So just all y'all be best friends and it'll work out great. All right, thank you very much. Awesome. You've got time, you've got dating, and you've got ivory town. All right. All right, you got this, buddy.
All right.
What's your name?
Matthew. I'm from Phoenix. It's easy to remember, huh?
That's all
From
right.
Phoenix. He gave me time, so that's what I'm doing. Time management. Obviously, we hear all the advice about, you gotta work now, play later, all this stuff, like put off having fun so you can work now. But it's kind of like we gotta manage our time better so we don't burn ourselves out, but so we actually get our stuff done too. We gotta have a good balance, and we gotta find that balance. The morning prayer. I forgot about that.
We're at the Newman Center.
I know. It's been a long day.
Go ahead.
And then starting our morning prayer. That way we can not be overwhelmed by the day. If we don't get our morning prayer, then we could kind of get burnt out. And as you said, if you don't do it, you tend to get a little upset throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. The morning prayer is the one thing that changes everything. Morning prayer is the one thing that changes everything. You can try to optimize your schedule, but guess what? The world is chaos, and it's not just as simple as that. But morning prayer is a constant that can help nourish you through every bit of chaos that happens in life. Good job, Matthew. Give it a
So I'm Mark. I'm from Kansas.
Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. So I'm going to be talking about dating. So basically how,
Don't make this awkward, bro. But I think I'm here to talk about dating. You're going to do a great job. Give it to us, Mark.
All right. Yeah, so a lot of our people date and know how to date based off what they've seen in the world. But if you actually think about it, the world and how relationships and stuff is going is not best. There's a lot of broken marriages and wounds and stuff people have from relationships. And so we really want to ground it in something deeper and something better. So the example he gave was back in the 40s, basically the greatest generation, when our grandparents were married for 60 years or whatever, So it all starts with just the man initiating and being vulnerable, but being very respectful of the woman, and just getting to know her as a person first before getting into any other stuff. And then, yeah, basically doing that, and then also just having a solid foundation and who you are as a person and your morals and values, which obviously hopefully come from God, so that you can tie those things together and find that person. So
yeah, I think the hard thing, Mark, is that we can't go back. And I don't even know how real that was. The book was just really rad. But what I do know is that what we're doing now ain't working. So we have to basically reject what the world is giving us and find another option. And for me, that other option is right here. Is you focus first on your friendships, and then don't bite off on this I'm just going to start dating within my friend group. But consider this concept of courtship. So courtship is a nuanced shift, where dating is about a sequence of going out to eat and kind of escalating whatevers we're not going to talk about. But courtship is about who are you as a person, and let's find time to be together, to get to know one another. And that absolutely can happen, in groups of friends, and it's so much less stressful. So again, take this idea of dating and just do away with it. Look into this idea of courtship, and I think it happens very naturally once you consider that what's going on out there just ain't working. And then lean into it. And if you're never quite sure, just focus on your friendships and your relationship with God, and things tend to work out very well. Good job, Mark. Give him up. All right, Ivory Tower, what's your name?
My name's Abel.
Abel, nice to meet you.
From the great state of Colorado.
There we go.
The boys.
Go Deion Sanders.
Yes, sir. Go Buffs. So I've never heard of the ivory tower analogy before, but as I understand it, it's you got guys up in these towers, and they're standing on the modern understanding of our world, and they're all pretty convinced. They all talk to each other all the time, and then they all tell each other how smart they are. They're yes, we get it. And so if you kind of if you just take their perspective, it can undermine the truths that we know to be real, right? So you come to college and you're well, this guy's he's in a tower, so he probably knows what he's talking about, but he might not, right? You might just know a lot about biology and not much about spirituality. So we know things about spirituality, and so we can't just be well, he's in a tower. We should just actually have a little faith in the things we've learned, not give them up to tower guy, and then ask people around the Newman Center who are smart, the Padres, if you're ever concerned about those things.
So hold on. I'm gonna keep you up here for a while. So the tower guys. I like the way you're saying this, because there's tower guys everywhere. And the assumption here is that because they're at the top of the tower, we just have to accept that everything they say is gospel truth, right? And this can happen in everything. This happens everywhere. But I think particularly because the dynamics of college, that you are the student, Abel, and they are the professor, there's this almost like just write it down. It's going to be on the test. It's going to be on the test. But it's funny that not even the tower guys talk to each other. And once the tower guys do talk to each other, you get a Nobel Peace Prize for talking to another tower guy, okay? So why should we stand beneath any of these towers and be like, you must know everything about everything, when clearly they don't, because they're like us, they're human. So do professors know more than you? Yes. Do we have a lot to learn on campus? Yes. But will everything that matters in your life come from within the classroom? Absolutely not. Like, that's why we have this community here, is that life isn't just about academics. It's not just about knowledge, but it's about heart. And it's not just about the present moment and what's going to happen after you graduate, but it's about what's going to happen in this lifetime and in the next. And that's what I love about this community. And you can ask those hard questions to Father Matt. You can ask those, Father Anthony, right? You can ask those hard questions to Father Anthony, that you can struggle with things in the same way we can struggle with what we learn in the classroom. We can struggle with our Christian faith, but we can always seek answers. And that's what adds to the richness of life. And yeah, that's awesome. Good job, buddy. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys did a great job. Your paranoia paid off. You did a great job, right? The whole time you're on edge. See, you totally got it. So I would say spend a little bit of time with each of these. These are easy to remember, very applicable in life. And if each day, you just kind of keep these in mind, I think it's going to go with you not just through this next week, but throughout college and for a lifetime, right? So that's my hope for you all today. And I think that's about it, Father Matt. Any questions on these topics? Like, we got just a few more minutes left on these topics. Or anything you want to add to it? Yeah, go ahead. What's your name?
Well, I'm Richard.
Richard. Okay, go for it, buddy.
It's a lot about evaluation, about evaluation of our life. I think with the towers, what you were kind of saying was evaluating what you believe. I think it's always important to evaluate what you believe. Often you'll have, sometimes people come up to you who will, kind of be, I don't know, kind of predatory to what you believe.
Yeah.
And sometimes to know the answers to those questions can be important, but also at the same time is also perfectly okay to say, I actually don't know that. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, and I think that's everyone has to learn this, but I think Christians somehow we're the last ones to learn it. They say you don't have to have all the answers. And you can say to someone like, yeah, I don't know, that's a good question. Let's find out the answer to that together.
There's other people that have studied that a lot more.
Yeah, totally. That's cool. Glad you brought that up. Any other questions, comments? Cool. All right, yeah, right over here.
You mentioned different definitions of passion. I guess if you had to define passion, how would you kind of define that?
I don't waste my time with passion. It's funny. What's your name? Tim. Here's the deal. My entire life, I've been defined, Tim, by my friends as being passionate. And I don't know if it's my demeanor, do I just come at people hard? But I have heard the word passion in my lifetime, and somehow people get glassy-eyed or they swoon over when they meet someone who's passionate about something or someone who's following their passion, it kind of fits this narrative that we want to believe is true, is that you can live this life and love it and glow as you're doing that. But I find that defining passion or pointing to passion is almost futile. It doesn't really matter. Following your passion almost has nothing to do with whether or not you'll be successful. Absolutely nothing. If you're an entrepreneur, the fact that you're passionate about it has nothing to do with whether or not your project is going to come off and become something great. It has more to do with discipline. So I'll talk all day about discipline because I've heard so many conversations about passion that have ended up with nothing. So to me, I like the biblical passion because no one ever does that, with the Jesus story of being passionate. To me, that's the real, because you can be passionate about things just because they're popular. You know what I mean? It's very convenient to be passionate about things that are popular. So if you ever find yourself all of the things you care about are trending on Twitter, you got to really check yourself and see who are you as a person? if everything that you care about happens to be popular today. Like, you should care about things that are very unpopular. You should care about causes that everyone else has forgotten about. You should care about people that are poor, have no power, have no voice. You should care about people that others have long forgotten about. You know, because it's a gut check, right? So for me, I'll stick to the biblical version of passion, but ultimately on this side of heaven, I almost find it's a futile conversation. And it's like an emotion. It's gone. Here one day, gone to another. And there's nothing more discouraging than someone who follows kind of a worldly definition of what passion is, because almost always it leads to an end that's a disappointment. That passion is supposed to carry us to where we want to go, and rarely does it do that. It's actually discipline. It's belief. It's your values. All these old-timey things we don't talk about anymore, that brings you where you want to go. It's not the fact that you woke up today feeling good about what you're going to do. It has nothing to do with that. Sorry, dude, I gave you way too much eye contact. Yeah, I should have talked to everybody. This poor guy, what's your name? Or what was your name? Tim was squirming. He's like, dude, why are you still talking at me? All right, so one last thing. One thing, I'm going to stop right here. So my company is called Smith House. We do a lot of marketing. We do design, a lot of web development. So like for our clients, we do everything from social media strategy to graphic design, website design, branding, some really cool stuff, email marketing, have a lot of, it's fun. Like, we do a lot of really cool stuff. Right now, so we recruit a lot out of NAU and ASU. And like, we have 6 interns right now, and I think 2 of them are NAU students, or one was an NAU student, now graduated. But like, our internships are super cool. They're paid internships. They're a lot of fun. If you're in marketing, or if you're in design or computer science, or if you like to write, or if you like to produce videos, make videos, you like to edit, any of these kinds of things, if this at all is a part of what you're good at, okay? Key there, I want you to be, you were supposed to laugh because I was calling you out for being bad at this, but the joke did not work. But if you're good at this, then I have this part right here. I know how to give you a nice paying internship, and we'll teach you how to be passionate about it, because our clients are amazing. And the work we do makes the world a better place. So if you want to take what you're learning in the classroom and then get paid to learn about it in the real world, I would love to talk to you about that. I've got a bunch of flyers here. I'm going to hang out over at the table. I've got like 40 of them. I have to get rid of all of them. So please come and take one. But the internship's going to be starting in January, February in the spring. Super cool. It can be remote. We can meet up here. A lot of great people work with me, and it's super cool. So I would encourage you all to check that out. So I guess that's it, Father Matt.
Awesome. Thank you.
Everyone come and take a picture of this board before you leave, okay? Thank you.
Lord God, you are a communion of persons. You created us for relationship with you, and many relationships here on earth that prepare us and help us to experience your love now. Lord, you have created us for happiness, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you. Guide us through this year, this time in college. Help us to know that you are with us every step of the way. Lord, give us a discipline, a humility to spend time with you each day, so that we might walk in your friendship and peace every day. Mother Mary, we entrust our vocations to you and ask for your intercession on us, for us as we pray. Hail Mary,
full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
and the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
So what's happening next week, we have our very unique fall festival. So we're going to have Mass, and then at 6:30 we'll begin. For dinner, there's Chick-fil-A. It's not an all-out Chick-fil-A, but chicken nuggets and other things. And there's going to be different booths and activities. We'll give you tickets. You can go, and there's prizes. So just something fun to break up the year to kind of help just enjoy being with one another. Did it work out to sit at the tables? You guys meet some new people and have some interesting conversation? It's great. There's good people here, and I wanted you to meet one another. So we'll do that occasionally, shake it up. Another way to keep, not shaking it up, but just to continue pondering the topic is when you leave here to grab dessert, which is Mexican chocolate cake with cinnamon bar frosting. As you grab your dessert, feel free to ask someone else, like, hey, what stood out for you from the talk? And so you can kind of continue processing and just thinking. When we share about, that's why Matt had you guys come up, I think, is when you share about what we've heard, you own it. And so that way you can process that. Lastly, and I mean most importantly, is 2 weeks from Friday is our fall retreat. And so it's our Awakening 34, led by students. The plan is we will meet up at San Francisco de Asís, it's the other Catholic church in town, Friday afternoon. You may not know other people, but that's how you get to know people. You show up, there's activities, the students get talks, you'll go back and sleep in your own bed, come back for all day Saturday, where really the one who's going to show up there is the Lord. And so I know the testimony I heard on Sunday, the student said, I met my now best friends going on retreat. So how do we build up those great friendships? The retreat's a really good way to do that. Okay? Hey, I don't know if you guys like our Catholic Jacks logo and all that branding. Matt Smith and his company did that for us. So we like that. Grab some dessert. Thanks, Matt.
Nice.